Everybody, welcome to this, what will be, I think, quite a quick little webinar. We wanted just to walk through and talk a little bit about what we've built with Stripe to offer ways, I guess, to improve cash flow and to help your business get paid faster. So Sharon's going to talk you through and give you a little demonstration on how simple it is. But in essence, the key elements, apart from creating a link and getting paid via credit card, is the setup and how easy it is to set it up within Enterpryze itself. So you can actually set up your Stripe account and go through what is known as the KYC, or the Know Your Customer process that Stripe need to go through in order to validate and create an account for you. And once that's done, how you're going to be able to then collect payments nice and easily via Enterpryze. And I guess the third aspect, which is probably a little bit of an unexpected one, or sort of one that you mightn't have thought about, is how Enterpryze and Stripe will manage the currency processing for customers that are paying you in a foreign currency. So, in essence, whenever you send out an invoice for payment via Stripe, Enterpryze will effectively determine what currency you're being paid in based on the invoice you send out. And from there, then it's going to post that payment into a Stripe account for that currency. So at a later date, then you can transfer that US dollar or sterling back into euro, or the other way around, whichever way works for you. So it's a really nice feature in terms of cutting down on costs of payments and things like that. And I know Stripe are very competitive in terms of their rates. So if anybody needs any assistance on that, you can of course reach out to us and we'll help you. So yeah, we're pretty excited about this one. We're using it ourselves. So that's always a really good test of it. And it's supporting us with payments from our South American user base primarily, but also some of our other customers in Africa and across Asia. So it's from that perspective, it's helping our customers to pay us much more easily and seamlessly. It has dramatically reduced our costs in terms of processing fees, and it is also allowing us to support multi-currency payments so that we can reduce our FX costs against those transactions as well. So what I'll do now, if that's okay, is hand you over to Sharon, who'll step you through how the actual process works. And if we have any questions at the end, if we can answer them for you, we'd be more than happy to do so.
Great, super. Thanks, Morgan. Very welcome, everybody, this afternoon. Just let me quickly share my screen, and we'll give you a first-hand look at sending out the emails via the click to pay option that Morgan has discussed. But primarily, let me go back a step just to show you that in terms of getting an organization set up and what's involved. As you know, we house all of our integrations very simply down here through the Explore add-ons and services. And very nicely, we already have the option here for Stripe. So for anybody that's got an existing Stripe account and you've already got an existing Stripe login, it's just a matter of directly connecting to that existing login for the Stripe Connect to work with the Enterpryze during these initiation steps. So let me just double click here for you onto Stripe. And you will see what we've done here on the screen itself is Stripe Click to Pay Setup. And we've got three very, very simple steps. And the first step is the initial connection. Now, as you can see there, I'm currently connected. I can update that connection if for any reason any of my terms or details changed on the Stripe side. I can click on update there to reconnect and re-authenticate with that particular account. Otherwise, I could click on connect. And if you don't already have a Stripe account or a Stripe Connect account, when you are taken to the Stripe login screen, you will be given the option there and then to create your new account. And as Morgan confirmed, you'll be taken through the activation process of defining who you are as a company, your contact information, all the relevant bank accounts. And then once you proceed to the end of those steps, and that's done through a wizard, a step-by-step wizard within Stripe itself. Once that's done, it'll come back to say that the connection is enabled, and you will see here you'll have status connected then for your live organization within Enterpryze. Then step 2, we just have some little options here that you can switch on and off as and when required. So with the click to pay, what we allow you to do is through sharing of the emails, you can click to pay on a sales order, sales deliveries, sales invoices, or sales reserve invoices. You can see there we can select to have those switched on by default, or very simply, as you go in to share each individual document with your customer, you can simply switch that on at that moment in time. It's nice and easy. Step 3, so this is where we have the different bank accounts. So Morgan talked there about foreign exchange. So for example, if you've got multiple Stripe accounts, so i.e. you've got money coming into euro, money coming into sterling, US dollar, etc., this is then the mapping that will be provided for the currency coming through the system into Enterpryze. So this is linking up to the GL account, the GL bank account, and of course any charges, fees coming from Stripe, where they will then post to on the general ledger side, on the accounting side within Enterpryze itself. And then step 4, very simply, we've got a shortcut key here to take you directly through to the Stripe dashboard. So when you click on this, you're brought directly into Stripe. And you can see there I actually have my dashboard currently open at the moment, but I click on that button and it'll bring me exactly into the same place so that I can see a history of the payments and transactions that have already hit my Stripe account. So that's your initial setup. So it's nice and simple. So let me take you directly through to a sales transaction and let me show you how very simple this is. So for example, I'll just go in here to sales invoices. As you can see here, I've got a number of sales invoices that are open and some that are closed. So obviously my click to pay is only relevant to my open transactions. So very simply, I drill into my invoice and we've introduced this new share button here beside actions. Click on the share and we get a lovely new Wise panel. So you're getting used to all of these Wise panels that we've introduced throughout the platform. And as you can imagine, we are building them more and more with all the new features that are going to be coming through the system as the platform progresses, in particular this year. So very simply through the share via email, all I have to do here is to select who the email is going to. It's defaulting here to the business partner contact, which is the one that I happen to have here on this particular invoice. But I can click again if I want to select the one from the contacts or from the users. So you'll see that you'll be able to, if you have multiple active users or multiple active contacts, we will be enabling that within the next release to ensure that you can select any business partner contact from that particular customer. You'll see here we've got a subject line. It's just a default text. You can click on that and change it and override it as you so wish. The same with the body of the email. You can see there it's just a very simple message to say, please find attached sales invoice number 240 for your information. Again, we can change that. The click to pay, because I have it defaulted to switched on in the settings, is also switched on at this point in time. So I'm just going to click on send, and we also have an option here to include the PDF attached, and that's if I want to change the layout. So for example, if you had multiple layouts or different custom layouts done for each of your invoices and you wanted to choose a different one to send to your customer, you can change it at this point. So let's just click on send. And I want to show you what will happen next in my inbox. So let's just wait for that to go through. And you can see there the document has been emailed. So we'll just wait for that to pop into the inbox. And then we'll show you what happens when we take that through into Stripe and pay that. So just waiting for that to appear. I'm also going to give you a showcasing preview of some of the extended functionality that we've also added to the share button. So I'll show that to you as well once we've completed this particular click to pay. So let me just come into the email there and just wait for that to pop in. Okay, well, while we're waiting for that to come into the inbox, might just be a little bit slow with all the current connections I have open. Just give that a second or two. I'm just going to pop in to show you the extended functionality that we've also added to the share button. So let me just sign in here for you for a second. And in addition to sharing and on the click to pay, we also have the facility. So I've mentioned here that you can also, there's the email coming through now. Let me just continue with this one here. So in the to box, so I've mentioned already, you'll be able to choose from all of your different contacts as well as the document contact and all of your users. You will be able to preview the template that's going to go out to the customer, so you'll know exactly what they're going to receive in their PDF. Again, in the body of the email, you can change all of that and add in whatever other additional text that you require. You'll be able to do the click to pay, but you'll also be able to create an activity. And by creating the activity, I'm just going to take off the click to pay just for 1 second. Creating the activity will then record the fact that the invoice has gone to the customer, and it'll be an added activity then sent to the customer. So I'm just going to click on send so that you can see this coming through as well at the same time. Let me just click on send. And I actually might need to do there is just refresh that screen if I've already sent for that particular invoice. Let me just take this one here and just do that again, and then we'll deal with the 2 invoices as they come through the system. And let's just go back up here, choose myself, and again, if I just take off that for a second, I want to create the activity, click on send. There we go, we've got activity saved. And we should also get a message to say the document is emailed. So let's just pop into the email there for now. And the first email is in with the click to pay. So here we have the click to pay. So very simply, you can see there what comes through. We've got the body of an email. We've got your logo, your customer logo that's coming through. We will make some more improvements to that also to highlight the fact that, you know, your company is priority in terms of branding so that you can see that foremost when the email comes through to the customer. And then if we scroll on down, you can see there the click to pay button. Let's click on that. And a new window in a browser will open up. It will also show on the right hand side, you can see there the Outlook email. So I can see that on my Microsoft Edge. And I can see the amount coming through, the 39.36. Very simply, so this is now integrating directly with Stripe. As you can see there at the top of the screen, it's the Buy Stripe. It's the Stripe payment screen. So let's select my details here. Let me select my saved credit card, which obviously is a dummy credit card. So no money will actually exchange hands at this point in time. So let's just click on pay. Nice and simple. So we can see there it's paying invoice number 240, just to remember that. Sales invoice 240. Thanks for your payment. Again, nice and simple. Let me just minimize that and go back into Enterpryze. And if we go back to the invoice that we did on the click to pay, go back to our list of invoices, you can now see that invoice number 240 has now been closed. And if we drill in, we can see that, of course, that particular invoice has been paid. If we go into the relationship map, we will get a link to the relevant payment for that particular invoice. You can see there, transfer 255. And then if I go straight into my Stripe dashboard, and again, let me just refresh the Stripe dashboard itself. There's the latest payment of 39.36. If I drill into that, and this is all the information I'm getting directly from Stripe at this time. And as you can see, if I scroll down, I can see here invoice number 240. And if I can click on that, it'll bring me to a products list. And what that does is it shows all of those transactions that I have paid so far. So what you can see historically here is that I've paid invoices, deliveries, orders. So as I mentioned during the settings for integrating directly with Stripe, we can see the various orders, deliveries, and invoices come through the system. So I can click on any one of those then to go back into the payment and to see the relevant details. But I also can see directly within my Enterprise the linked payment through the relationship map. I can drill into that payment then to see that that came from. If I go into the payment itself, you will see here on the remarks, it came from the click to pay sales invoice number 240. So I've got a connection all the way through the system at that point, and that's how simple it is. Lovely and simple. And just to go back to the second email that I got sent through, which was to do with the created activity. So you can see there's the attached invoice for 227. And if I just go back into that organization with the linked activity, so let me just go back in here. So 227, if I now scroll down to related activities, you can see there we have a closed and added activity. And if I drill into that, it contains, as you can see here, activity title is sales invoice 227 from Stripe to Pay. So that's just from the organization. And I can see then in terms of the details, what was actually sent to the customer. I can see also the linked invoice within that activity. So straight away, I'm getting a full communication between yourself and the customer to the emails that have been sent out. I'm creating the activity to confirm that that has gone to the customer, and I have a record of that directly within Enterpryze rather than having to go to my Outlook to say, well, did I send an email? Did it go to them? Did they receive it? I've got a record here to say that on that day at that time, I sent an email, and obviously I can see the linked transaction for that particular activity as well. And of course, you can always go back in to download or send again, whatever is necessary. So all the time, keeping the customer up to date. So that's really bringing the full picture 360 for you in terms of just doing the share at the moment with the click to pay, and the extended share with creating the activity when you do the click to pay. So recording the fact the email has gone out. So really key and valuable changes that we've brought to you with the click to pay from Stripe.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I knew it was going to be a quick one. It was lovely. Just to add to that before we take any questions.
Absolutely.
There's the notifications within Enterprise, if anybody's using them, there is the ability to have a notification set for incoming payments from Stripe. So anytime you see that, you can see it there. And I also think that just to remind everyone that there is, for Windows-based users, an Outlook integration add-on for incoming emails if you want to save them as activities also. So if you'd like that, please reach out to us and we can help you get that set up within your system to give you that two-way communication on both outbound and inbound emails. So if anybody has any questions, I don't think Sharon could have made it any easier, but I'm sure there's a couple. Please feel free to write them in the chat and we can maybe answer some of those for you.
Yeah, I think there's a couple coming through there now in the Q&A. So like I said, there's the notification that Morgan mentioned, just to show you that in the center. New Stripe incoming payment. So we got that very, very quickly. As you saw, once the end user clicks on click to pay, or the customer clicks on click to pay, it's pretty instant in the system, clicks back on the invoice and it's closed and cleared out. So let's just check on the Q&A.
So can click to pay move an order to a pick list for dispatch? So what I'm assuming you're referring to somebody paying an order. Well, the payment will come in as an unreconciled transaction because it isn't Correct. A financial transaction. So you'd have to allocate the payment on an order, but you'll receive notification that the payment's in, and then you can assign a picker if you're using our new WMS. And if you're not using the WMS, then you can just create a pick list, I guess, and send that out. So you'll at least receive notification, I guess, but I wouldn't automate that process personally. But anyway, we can have a conversation about that a different day. And really helpful. How does it look when it comes into the bank? Well, it comes into your Stripe bank accounts.
Yes.
And Sharon's dashboard that she just referred to there, she's just giving you a little look at it at the moment, is where you'd see those invoices coming in and payments. And then at some stage, you can either transfer that into a bank account in one payment if you wish, or it's effectively creating another bank within your system and more bank accounts.
There is actually a statement descriptor, just to mention that to people, that when they're defining and setting up their Stripe account, there is actually a statement descriptor. So effectively, when you choose your bank accounts on the connection and on the setup, you can decide how it's going to look when it comes through the account. So for me, it might be enterprise.com or whatever when it comes through to the Stripe bank account. But yes, ultimately, it's coming from Stripe, and you can define what the statement descriptor will be when you see it coming through.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. We're asked what stages of a sale is it relevant to? So it starts at a sales order because obviously that's where the commitment for the customer comes in. So it begins at order. You can take payment at order, delivery, invoice, and of course, if you're using reserve invoices, you can use it there. And of course, a reserve invoice is a financial transaction to the customer in that it is a genuine invoice, but it reverses the process. So instead of you're typically going order, delivery, invoice, this is going order, reserve, invoice, then delivery. And it allows you to follow that process. And of course, if you take a payment against a reserve invoice or an invoice, it will allocate and close either of those transactions. If it's an order or delivery, you'll still have to reconcile it manually against the order or the delivery, as you would expect. Sharon, somebody's just asked if you can show how to connect Stripe to Enterprise just quickly again. I think we could probably do that very quickly. It's only one button.
Absolutely.
And if any more questions there, please feel free to throw them into the chat.
So just to mention again that all of our integrations are stored down here on the left-hand side through the Explore add-ons and services. So when we click into that and then click into Stripe, so just double click on the Stripe logo here, and then you come in to the setup screen. So there are just potentially 3 steps involved. As you can see, because I've got a connection here already, you've got status connected. If I go to update, so for example, if I click on update at this point in time, so identity verification by Stripe, if this was just a connect, it would do exactly the same. It'll bring me through the connection screen. Just give that a second.
Of course, the support team will help with this if anybody wants any help, no problem.
So as you can see there, because I've already, there's the descriptor that I was saying to you, shown on customer statements. So on the customer side, that's what I just put in just for them to see that on that side. It's just enterpryze.com, but you can add a descriptor in on the Stripe side. So there you can see the account onboarded now. That's because I have an existing account. If that came through to the log-on screen, that first half of the screen with the purple is exactly what you will see. And on the middle of the screen, you will get a login. So whether that's your existing Stripe account login, or you start by creating a brand new account. So if you have an existing Stripe, that's where you do the connection. You use exactly the same login that you've been using for Stripe to date. Otherwise, you can create a new Stripe Connect account if it's your first time to use it, and Stripe will take you through a wizard step by step of all of the organization and company information, such as name, address, VAT code, etc., in order to activate your account correctly, and any bank accounts that you need to link up and the currencies that you need to have active within Stripe. So just to go back in there to the settings screen again. So as you can see there, once it is connected, you're left with the update button, which is, as you saw, all I did there was just re-authenticate, reactivate that connection to make sure it's still there. And then step 2 is where Morgan confirmed for the different types of transactions that you can switch on to default to click to pay for sales orders, sales deliveries, sales invoices, sales reserve invoices. Step 3 then to configure how they are posted within the general ledger or within the accounting module in Enterprise for the different bank accounts and the different currencies. And step 4, which when you click on the dashboard, will take you straight through, because the connection is already made and authenticated, to the dashboard within your Stripe Connect account. So just showing you how that works, because I obviously already had it open, but just to show you that that's the one it's linking back up to every time. And then I can simply go to my payments and review any of the payments that have come through, and click through on any of those then to see what invoice, what delivery, what order, what did it actually relate to on the time and the day. Okay.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Sharon. And the question is it fully available in the current release? Yes.
Yes. So the click to pay is fully available in the current release. The extended,
I had to think about that one for a minute, I'm afraid. But yes, it is absolutely in the current release, and feel free to try it if you want, or to reach out to the support team to help you get it all set up. The next release
will have the activity.
It's just been launched, and that release has some enhancements around seeing deliveries in the resource scheduler and being able to plan deliveries that way. And then the next release will have the enhancements to the emailing wise panel, which will allow you to go in there and add attachments from items and click to pay and select your layout type and also preview which layout you're sending through to the customer and things like that as well. And all the time we're trying to make that communication piece with the customer as slick as we possibly can. Sharon's just going to show there where you
Yeah,
can.
here it is now. Actually, this just got released yesterday. This is just on your deliveries. Very simply, just click on the delivery date here. You get a lovely little Wise panel pop-up that enables you to actually open the resource planner directly for that particular delivery and schedule it. And then it will record the fact that it's been scheduled on the Wise panel. And every time you click on that delivery date, you'll be able to see here just on the Wise panel pop-up without having to go to the resource planner that it's scheduled and ready to go on a particular date and time. And it just keeps record against that particular delivery. Nice and simple. So you can see it there if I click on open, and then we just get that one particular delivery. I can click and drag it to schedule it.
And just while you're doing that, Sharon, there is one great question are there any charges for the use of this? No, other than the credit card fee that Stripe charge, which you'd be paying on other credit card.
Anyway.
Which is about, I think it's published at 1.8%, but depending on volumes, you should be able to get that much cheaper if you're using it a lot. But again, that's typically what the costs look like, which I think is a small cost if it improves your cash flow and gets you paid.
Absolutely, but click to pay is available to everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah. No charge at all. It's all there already in the platform, ready to go.
And there you have the delivery, simply planned. And then when I click into the delivery date again, you can see there the record of it being planned, the time and the end time and date.
And I think that gives everybody a bit of an indication as to where we're going with Wise panels, and how you'll see a lot more of that coming through as we start to release over time our Enterprise 3.0 UI update, which includes the Wise panels, but it also looks at a complete refresh of the UI to try and make it more a lot simpler and a lot easier for people to navigate the platform, and also designing it so that it works better on tablets as well as large screens as well. So that's all coming over the next number of weeks and months. So I think that kind of brings an end to the presentation. Thank you, Sharon, and thank you to
people at all. You're welcome.
Took the time to come along. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to support, or indeed myself and Sharon are able to help out if we can. And other than that, we'll see you for the next one. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Great.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Morgan. Bye-bye.